Beautiful day in Tucson, Arizona. Absolutely picturesque for our final match, Pac-12 beach volleyball. We're on the campus of the University of Arizona at Bear Down Beach for the Wildcat Spring Challenge. There have been 8 duels on Pac-12's network over the final 2 days. This is the 8th, a top 15 matchup. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Holly McPeak. Holly, it has come to this at the bottom of that screen. Number 14, California versus 15th ranked Arizona.
2 ranked teams, 2 undefeated teams on the weekend finally get to face off. This is the match we've been waiting for. Someone's going to go home with a loss.
They certainly are. We're going to play this match a little bit differently. It's going to be in flights. Hey, everybody, Anne-Marie and Holly. So, Holly, this one's in flights where we have been paying 5 across. Explain the difference.
Well, the difference is we will play 4s and 5s. Pairs will match up first, and then the next flight will be 1, 2s, and 3s at the same time.
So tell us about this duel. What are we looking for in this top 15 matchup?
Well, right now, Cal is the hottest team. Arizona's made some adjustments in their lineups to match up better. They have 2 key players injured. So it's going to be, we're going to see some new pairs for Arizona trying to face off against a very talented and deep Cal team.
Yeah, both of these teams have been perfect in this tournament. Somebody is about to suffer their first loss of the Wildcat Challenge. Let's take a look at the rules in depth now. You mentioned we're going to play in flights, but in addition, it's 5 matches of pairs.
The first program to win 3 of the 5 wins the duels. Like I said before, pairs 4 and 5 first, then pairs 1, 2, and 3 will face off. 2 sets to 21 if a third set is necessary. A set to 15, win by 2 points in all the games.
Spectacular day at Bear Down Beach, and so we mentioned the 4s and 5s are going to start things off. On court 2, the 5 pair, Grace Campbell and Maddie Micheletti facing Caroline Cordes and Sarah Watanabe. And this is a new pair for Arizona, something that people haven't seen before.
Yeah, and that's 2 good players who've been working to get in the lineup. And with Mia Mason out and Olivia Halloran out, they're getting the opportunity. And this is a big one. This is one against a ranked opponent. And Cal's Grace Campbell and Maddie Micheletti have been fantastic on the season at 17-2.
We're going to turn our attention, though, to start things off on the 4s pairs court. And that is Caroline Schafer and Mia Merino against another newly formed pair, Casey Nady and McKenna Martin.
McKenna Martin, a very strong defender. Libero indoors. Casey Nady, a former middle blocker for the University of Oregon. Very physical at the net, and they complement each other extremely well. Caroline Schafer, just a freshman from Orinda for Cal, and Mia Merino, the experienced junior from Tustin, California.
Steve Walker made these changes, the 4 and 5s. It was the one loss to Colorado Mesa in this tournament. The 5 pair at the time lost, and so Steve Walker again has made adjustments in every duel, just tinkering still with his lineup.
Well, you need to figure out who's going to play well together, because chemistry is an issue, and then who matches up well with one another and who rises to the occasion.
McKenna Martin was on the 5 pairs. Yesterday, she played with Caroline Cordes, and she also played earlier today with a different partner. It was her first time playing this year. And for Casey Nady, she's been paired up with Sarah Watanabe all weekend long. They started the 2s, moved to the 3s, then the 4s. And there's Nady's left hand.
Casey Nady, that ball just got away from her, but athletic enough to get her left hand in on it and clear the tape. That's not easy to do. Mia Merino caught by surprise.
Watanabe trying to set, but was tight to the net. Not successful.
Tough serve, and Cal has a little tweak in the pass, out of system, struggled to get that ball over the net. Service pressure so important when you're playing at the highest level.
Yeah, and these 2 teams have been the leaders in this duel, so very intense.
Beautiful kill by McKenna Martin to the deep middle. McKenna Martin, such a good defender, nice ball control. She and Casey Nady switching up 5-2 against Merino and Schafer.
Quick conversation and the side switch. This is one of the few times you get to talk with your team. If you're a coach, unless you're calling a timeout, that's slow walk. We were talking to Colorado Mesa's head coach, David Schafer, earlier, and he said something that players are so excited, they're so energized, they kind of rush across and don't take advantage of that. Schafer. Off the hands of Nady.
Caroline Schafer not afraid to swing at the ball. Goes up, attacks that ball high off the hands of Casey Nady, the blocker.
Service just a little bit long.
Just a slight wind today, and it seems like it's going the other direction as yesterday.
McKenna Martin serving. Look at the movement by Martin as Nady pulled. Merino up versus Nady. Found open court cross.
Some nice defensive plays by Arizona, but Mia Merino ends the rally with a nice cross-court kill. Campbell and Micheletti up 8-3 for Cal in the pair 5 position. Right now, Casey Nady, McKenna Martin up 7-4.
Blocked. Schafer owning the net.
Caroline Schafer, knowing that ball was tight, going up and blocking. Good penetration, very physical at the net is Caroline Schafer.
Nice plant by McKenna Martin, dug by Merino. Joust at the net. Nady goes up a second time. What a spot by Casey Nady.
Casey Nady, the back bump over the net to the retreating blocker. Just a heads up play, little joust. Mia Merino tries to go deep. McKenna Martin right there, and then the back bump catches everyone by surprise.
I tell you what, her indoor career is fading in my memory as she is really making a name for herself on the beach. Of course, 4 years at Oregon, we've mentioned it before. Her first and only year playing for Arizona on the beach. She did play for Oregon's beach team as well.
I love that block move by Casey Nady. She's a middle blocker at Oregon, makes a good cross-court block move.
Steve Walker, head coach of Arizona, getting a chance to coach Casey Nady. Of course, he recruited her to the indoor program years ago when she was from the Arizona area, moved to Southern California, went back up to Oregon, and he said, I guess things come full circle. She's back here now, playing for him 5 years later.
What an athlete Casey Nady is, and she looks very fit and strong for Arizona.
Merino. She just moves well. Set was over, and taking advantage of it is Schafer.
I like the dig by Casey Nady, but this ball set too tight to the net, and Caroline Schafer all over that ball.
Again, super tight. Schafer's going to eat every one of those up.
McKenna Martin used to getting all the serves, not in the setting role. She's trying to push Casey Nady to the net. I think Casey Nady can do a better job at passing the ball, but McKenna Martin can take care of that ball and better it as well.
Better to be off than on, too, when you got somebody like Schafer up there patrolling the net.
McKenna Martin, nice kill down the line. It was interesting, they scored a couple points serving Casey Nady and then switched it up going back to McKenna Martin. I think that's a mistake. If you're scoring points off somebody, keep the pressure on that same player.
Merino's pass. Look at that set. Just Cal looking stronger and stronger as they go along. Down the line, so strong.
McKenna Martin just missing that ball by an inch. The idea there, execution a little off. Still Arizona leading by 2.
Oh, Nady, all muscle, turns it the other way.
That ball passed a little tight. McKenna Martin this time, safe set, bringing it back off the net, and then Casey Nady does what she likes to do, hammers that ball back down the line.
Tough serve for Schafer. Put up well by Merino. No one on.
Casey Nady unable to get her feet to the ball on that one, but Arizona digging lots of balls. They've missed 3 or 4 point scoring opportunities off of a dig.
McKenna Martin, that ball into the antenna.
Case
will step away as Nady and Martin hang on to a slim lead over Merino and Schafer.
You're watching Pac-12
7 on Pac-12 Network.
Pac-12 Beach Volleyball is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Welcome back to Tucson. Pac-12 Beach Volleyball top 15 matchup at Bear Down Beach. The final duel in the Wildcat Spring Challenge. The 4 and 5 pairs going the first flight of action right now. Left side of your screen, Campbell and Micheletti started trailing and then hit a 6-0 run to take a lead over Watanabe and Cordes. But on the fours court, well, Merino and Schafer, Nady and Martin have been trading blows back and forth.
Casey Nady with a big block on Caroline Schafer, the last play to go up 12-10.
Merino pass. Hammered by Mia Merino.
Good aggressive cross-court swing by Mia Merino. Nice balance in her offense this season, mixing up power with shots, but you see the elevation, she jumps well, good power to the deep line.
Merino, a great example of somebody who took advantage of the training at a high school when the beach program was really still in its grassroots. How have you seen her game develop over the years?
Well, she has so much experience. She's calm, she's confident. You can see she's been in so many different situations. She knows how to compete. She knows what shots work. She knows where to be defensively. So nice experience behind her because she started playing at a high level in high school.
Nady's set is solid, no blocker on. McKenna Martin hammers.
Great apex on that set by Casey Nady. Again, I told you setting is one of the hardest skills when you're adjusting or coming to the beach from the indoor game, but nice up and down set. That allows McKenna Martin to get her feet to the ball and attack it.
Schafer just being crafty, taking a look at where the hands are.
But well-executed line shot. She still had to clear the big block of Casey Nady. Made good hand contact, nice spin away from the defender.
On 2.
McKenna Martin again and Casey Nady really complement each other well. McKenna Martin passes it well, and then Casey Nady can use her physicality to hit on 2, something I think McKenna Martin lacked with her former partner in the last match.
Yeah, for McKenna Martin, this is the 3rd different partner she's had this weekend. We're going to step over to court number 2 where we watch the 5 pairs now. Domination at the moment. You look at that attack. This is Caroline Cordes and Sarah Watanabe for Arizona, newly placed together after the last duel.
Steve Walker looking for good combinations who can score a point, and they're facing a very strong team of Grace Campbell and Maddie Micheletti, very experienced in the sand, and they work really well together. Both can attack, Maddie Micheletti, one of the best hand setters for Cal. Look at that great move from Caroline Cordes. Good angle block move, and she did it late enough that Maddie Micheletti was surprised by it.
On the side switch, talking with coaches.
The slow walk and talk with the coaches. They are allowed to do that. That's the only time besides the timeout that you're allowed to talk and get advice from your coach.
Yeah, and you want to take advantage of it. Sometimes you get so excited, you see the players, the young players still kind of run across, especially if you're winning.
That ball passed a little bit tight to the net. Cal with a nice lead, but give up 2 of the last points to Arizona. Stops the run right there. 18-12. Grace Campbell will serve and run to the net.
Just checking the service order, and they discovered that it is Maddie Micheletti's serve. No penalty for checking beforehand. Maddie Micheletti, a true freshman. Grateful for her opportunity, taking that broken elbow. And so Maddie Micheletti is conscious. That's the reason she's getting an opportunity to play, she feels.
Well, I feel like she's good enough to be in the lineup regardless, but I feel like she's just appreciating the environment, the opportunity to play and compete as a collegiate athlete. And you see Grace Campbell taking advantage at the net, pressing over as a blocker for Cal.
Up. Watanabe cut. Here comes Micheletti. Splitting the defenders, and it is set point.
Maddie Micheletti in a good spot defensively, not cheating, just relaxed defense. And that, again, comes with experience. Experience, a great factor in beach volleyball. Really helps you understand and read the game.
This is for the set. Campbell digs, no one on. Looking for that back corner. Little.
How about that? Gutsy roll shot from 5-6 feet off the net, drops short. The defense had already come off the net because they saw the set was so far off, but you have to be able to drop off the net and change directions and get that short ball.
That was a 4-0 run to close that out for Grace Campbell and Maddie Micheletti. Let's go back over to court number 1 where the 4 pairs are playing.
McKenna Martin not afraid to step in and play some defense on the hard ball. Mia Merino just clears Casey Nady, the blocker, and able to get that ball to drop for Cal. Both players have a designated blocker and designated defender, but Mia Merino and Caroline Schafer a little bit more experience together.
Yeah, and that's not always the case. Somebody new might be like, well, of course they have a blocker and defender. Not really. Some will split block.
Some will split block. Correct.
Nady turning it the other way. There's such a height differential in this with these pairs, though. Nady and Martin sitting at set point number 1.
Steve Walker has to be happy with the performance here by Nady and Martin, just put together for this match. But like I said, I like their games. They complement each other extremely well. One dominant in the back row, one dominant at the net.
Little. Schafer's not done.
Casey Nady, I told you she was making the transition from Oregon, but she moves extremely well in the sand. She's making some good decisions. That one could not get a nice short drop shot by Caroline Schafer.
And Nady was the one pair, part of the one pair for the Ducks. They were here last year at the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships. They're at Bear Down Beach this year. Those championships will be held on the campus of Stanford University at Stanford Volleyball Stadium. Sets up. Merino, no one on. And Nady is going to get a swing for the set.
Beautiful execution. Mia Merino pushes Caroline Schafer up to the net, and I like the decision. Just a nice poke cut shot with nobody at the net blocking.
dug by Merino. On to Merino.
Good control play by Caroline Schafer. Pulled off the net, sets her partner, Mia Merino, who has great ball control, sees the opening and goes cross court where Arizona isn't. But Caroline Schafer, credit her for taking care of that ball contact.
3 consecutive points by the Bears. Still remains set point. And on set point number 4, it's again rejected.
Caroline Schafer pressing way over the net for Cal. McKenna Martin trying to sneak one by her. Arizona wants a timeout.
Understandably, right? I mean, what a run of points when it looked to be completely in the hands. 4 consecutive points, now facing set point number 5.
Definitely, and Steve Walker is going to talk about it. Get Casey Nady and McKenna Martin focused on a play in serve receive.
Arizona started out strong this year. You mentioned some injuries. They went 10-8 since until this weekend. They had 14 consecutive duels on the road. That's a lot of time away from Bear Down Beach.
It certainly is, but it's good to test yourselves. And they were out in LA playing in the Pac-12 West competition. You want to be tested. That's how you get better as a team and a program.
And they need these tournaments in order to prepare, of course, for the crowning jewel of the Pac-12 conference. The best teams seem to be in the Pac-12 conference. The 2-time defending NCAA champion USC will be among the field at the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships, August 26th, 27th, 28th at Stanford Volleyball Stadium. Pac-12 Network will bring you all of that action. Tremendous tournament over 3 days.
SC has been the team to beat the last couple of years, but UCLA, the #1 ranking, hottest team in the country right now.
Yep, you get a chance to see USC facing Pepperdine, one of their nemesis, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Pac-12. Of course, you can find all these matches as well in the Pac-12 Now app. Unbelievable.
Just disciplined defense on the part of Cal. Casey Nady thought, oh, maybe they'll cheat for my line shot, but Mia Merino stays home, digs the ball, and look at that cut shot. Fantastic hand contact away from the defender.
This is your last chance if you're Arizona, because once it ties up with Cal, it's going to be brutal. And it's still over. Outside the antenna, I believe that was, and so by the hair on their chinny-chin-chins, Nady and Martin.
Good win for Arizona in the first set, but the hustle play and the momentum that Cal was gaining at the end of that first set should take them into the second set playing better ball. Good hand contact again with all that topspin from McKenna Martin. I like the hustle by Mia Merino with her left hand.
Yeah, people that are unclear, it's that the ball passed over the top or outside the antenna. And so a set 1 win for Arizona on the 4s and for Cal on the 5s.
Flexes with yours, New York Life.
Welcome back to Bear Down Beach in Tucson, Arizona. Pac-12 volleyball top 15 matchup to conclude this tournament, the Wildcat Spring Challenge. Right now, the first flight of action between Cal and Arizona. Campbell and Micheletti, the 5 pair, took set number 1. Strong start in set number 2.
Campbell and Micheletti have been so consistent. They move well together. No real weaknesses. I love the way Maddie Micheletti uses her hands to set Grace Campbell. And Grace Campbell, I've been watching, she's been much more aggressive with her offense, going up and hitting that ball instead of settling for the shot. You want a nice balance between power and finesse. Caroline Cordes with a nice little roll shot that drops over the block. Maddie Micheletti dies but can't get it up.
Watanabe's serve is errant.
Sarah Watanabe from Honolulu, Hawaii, trains with former AVP pro Alika Williams in the summer. So really working on improving her beach game so she can contribute, and this is a good opportunity for her. there. Grace Campbell, tough float serve. Watanabe struggles to handle it.
Wind's starting to kick up a little bit more here. Sets up. Watanabe in the right spot. Pokey dig.
Not sure what happened. I think Caroline Cortez maybe.
Yeah, the call was a double.
Yeah, but she hit it twice. I don't know if she stopped playing because she thought something happened in the middle, maybe a net violation.
Meanwhile, Cal on a 7-1 run. Watanabe looking for that corner.
Caroline Court is struggling right now in transition setting, and that's one of the most difficult parts of the sport. You want to get your hips around and apex that ball to the net, if at all possible. Better to set 2 feet off than too tight for the other team to attack.
And with that, Watanabe and Cordes calling a timeout as they trail Campbell and Micheletti by 9.
Campbell and Micheletti have to be happy with the way they're playing right now, in major control.
Side switch happening on court number 1 for the 4 pairs. Merino, Schafer, Nady, and Martin, no surprise, battling it out, trading blows.
And Derek Olson getting his team of Mia Merino and Caroline Schafer focused on what they need to do. This is a tough battle, and Nady and Martin played extremely well the first set.
Merino up. It's Nady falling back.
Mia Merino fired up on that tight ball, winning the joust basically. This is almost a trap set, but goes up and pokes it through the block of Casey Nady. Casey Nady needs to press over the net so that ball doesn't end up on her side of the net. There's a press. Caroline Schafer. She's so intense. I love it, but her press over the net is really good. It's something that's hard to teach as a coach, that you don't want to go high and then over. You just want to slide your hands over the net and press. That's the most effective block on the beach.
Nady on 2.
Mia Merino kind of leaning right, and Casey Nady goes left on 2. Well played.
This Cal pair fought off 5 set points in set number 1. Mia Merino up. McKenna Martin against Schafer. This time slips it past Schafer.
That time Caroline Schafer late with the press over the net, and McKenna Martin able to get that by.
Back to court number 2 for the 5 pairs. Watanabe up. Winning a fiddle.
Winning a fiddle, hit deep middle, and that was kind of an off-speed hit to the middle. Usually you want to hit just kind of a flat line drive there, but it works.
Cordes played early yesterday, then didn't, now back in the lineup for the Wildcats.
Caroline Cordes was able to win at the 5s in 2 tight matches for Arizona yesterday, but did not play this morning against Colorado Mesa.
Yeah, and it's good. Steve Walker said he wanted to give another opportunity to a different player, but really like what she did back here again. So while they're sitting down, we're back to court number 1.
Good ball down the middle. Casey Nady dropping into the angle. Tough to change directions and get that middle ball. I like the talk by Casey Nady and McKenna Martin, discussing what to do next defensively. And it's got to be hot out there right now.
The sun reflecting. They've been wetting the sand between, but we're reaching the peak of the day. 88 degrees right now.
That ball set a little bit wide, little off the net. Mia Merino not happy that she could not clear the net on that play. Nady Martin again leading early in the set.
Steve Walker prefers to not call this a rebuilding year, but a transition year after his program was led by the identical twins, the Witts, McKenna and Madison Witts, for the last 4 years at the one spot.
Yeah, I think they were really the face of the program the last 4 years and helped put Arizona Beach Volleyball on the map. But there's a lot of talented athletes in the program who are trying to contribute and grow the sport here.
And one of the things that Steve Walker told us about this team is he said, you know, I've seen the growing pains and the adjustment. I want the results to reflect that, because in his words he said, I'm rooting for them because of the work that they put in. He really likes the team that he has.
And early, I feel like he said, we're practicing at a lot higher level than we're competing. So he started to do more live drills where they were competing in practice to see if he could get that level up in terms of competition.
Schafer looking very strong, very skilled.
Yeah, Caroline Schafer takes a look, sees Casey Nady in the line, and just goes high over her. Errant pass by McKenna Martin. Casey Nady chases, but can't do anything about it.
Megan Owusu, the head coach of Cal, you may know her as Megan Schmidt. She's proud of this team for a number of different reasons, not the least of which is their work in the classroom.
Well, the Newmark Award, highest cumulative team GPA at Cal.
The one award for the men's team, one award for the highest women's team, and that was the beach volleyball team with a 3.396 GPA for the 2016-17 season.
And they were able to take a preseason retreat to Half Moon Bay as a team and did a lot of team building exercises. Really, a lot of the players look back at that trip as really an amazing experience to bond all these players and get them focused on a common goal.
Yeah, and they were take that award with the money from the Newmark Award. It is a monetary award that's given to the team to do whatever they want with, and they decided they wanted to bond, so over at Half Moon Bay they went. Megan Owusu very, very pleased with her team. There's been a lot of changes this year, thanks in part, and you mentioned it earlier, to their great recruiting.
The freshmen have stepped up big time. They are upping the level of Cal Beach Volleyball, but the veterans who have been there the whole time are really stepping up and leading these young players as well.
Well, talking about the veterans, let's go back over to these 5 pairs, because Micheletti, just a freshman, Grace Campbell, a junior, and they are rolling in this second set.
Grace Campbell has been a contributor for Cal Volleyball every year that she's been here, and now with Maddie Micheletti really holding down the 5 spot with a 17-2 record. Commanding lead, 19-9 on the side switch. You switch at multiples of 7 in the first 2 sets that are to 21.
Domination by Campbell and Micheletti.
Caroline Cortizan will serve and run to the net to block.
Hand set, beautiful. Campbell puts it away.
Good court vision. She saw Caroline Cortez jumping big into the angle that time. Just a little poke shot. Watch Caroline Cortez. She makes a big move into the angle and then the poke shot over the extended block.
I feel like you don't have the confidence to pull your hands out of your pockets in the win unless you have the time of training that these players had before getting to college as well. This is for the match. Sent long.
Maddie Micheletti kind of eased up trying to shoot the ball instead of just ending it with an exclamation point. She wants that one back, but another opportunity in front of her.
We're going to put the first point of this duel on the board. Campbell passing. Nice hands again from Micheletti.
There's the exclamation point. Good aggressive swing by Grace Campbell.
Campbell and Micheletti put it on the board as the Bears lead the Wildcats 1-0.
Home of the Arizona Wildcats.
Pac-12 beach volleyball top 15 matchup between Cal and Arizona. Cal leading the duel 1-0 as action is continuing on court number 1 with the 4 pairs.
Right now, Merino and Schafer up 14-11 in the second set. Good scramble play. Caroline Schafer pulled off the net and dug 2 good balls deep into the court and then transitions it to end the rally. She looks a little bit tired, taking a minute to get a breather.
McKenna Martin goes outside the left hand of Schafer.
That's been a very successful play for McKenna Martin, that little short cutback to the line. It's short and it's over the defender, and it's tough for the defender, Mia Marina, to get.
Two-point lead for Merino and Schafer, who fought off 5 set points at the end of set number 1.
Caroline Schafer, errant set too wide for Mia Marino. She's breaking her arms, like her arms are bent when she's setting that ball. She has a straight platform. It's going to lift the ball and give it a better apex for Mia Marino.
Marino with a big block in front of her, goes around Nady. Here comes Nady again. Blockers pulling off. Merino digs. Takes a look at the net, sees no one's on. Mia Marino has been devastating defensively.
Mia Marino wanted that rally to end, saw the opportunity. Digs this cut shot, sees open backcourt, takes advantage.
Part of the terrific recruiting that you said Cal does has to do with their assistant coach. You really are very high on what he's bringing to this program.
Absolutely. Derek Olson was and still is an aspiring beach volleyball pro. Now Cal Beach Volleyball is his top priority. But great strategical mind, technical mind, and all the players across the board say he has made a huge difference in the level of training and preparedness for competition for Cal.
Well, and in talking with Megan Owusu, she was really just pleased with his addition again. Some of it is says she's been waiting for this group of freshmen. She said the seniors for Cal are their first beach group only in the program. They're phenomenal leaders, but she's been waiting for these freshmen to come in. She really wanted Derek Olson to add that extra technical impact, and it's all come together.
Definitely. Bright future for the Cal Beach Volleyball program, and some good players ready to come in next year as well.
Both of these programs perfect this weekend. Somebody's going home with a loss.
McKenna Martin comes to the middle of the court. Look at Caroline Schafer press over the net. Beautiful execution, shutting down that line for McKenna Martin. Serve is long. Arizona creeping back in this second set after winning the first set.
Merino takes a look. Now Nady setting, Schafer waiting for McKenna Martin. So crafty.
That's McKenna Martin's best shot, and if you're Cal, you need to take that away from her. Take that short ball away from McKenna Martin. Team sitting down to talk about it. Cal getting their pair refocused. Caroline Schafer, Mia Marino, they're probably going to talk about that particular shot.
Nationally, you get the idea. I mean, these two teams, both top 15 teams. You take a look at the AVCA poll. You mentioned it earlier. UCLA having a year. Steinmetzger's been doing great things, and they're ranked number 1.
And UCLA has depth on the bench as well. Their 5 pairs are extremely strong, but they've got 4 players on the bench who could come in and fill in at any spot. Pepperdine also very strong, but they don't have the same kind of depth as UCLA. Hawaii has had a great season so far. USC, 8 losses. That's more losses as a program than they've had the last 3 years, but they've got a lot of youth. Yeah, combined. And they've got a lot of youth, very strong athletes. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can finish up the season. We have them, USC and Pepperdine, Tuesday night at 5 p.m.
Yeah, and it matters if you're not familiar with how the NCAA field works. It's 3 teams from the West, 3 teams from the East, and 2 at-large bids. And the West is incredibly strong, and that means that for USC, the 2-time defending NCAA champions, it's not a given that they'll be there. They certainly are talented, but it is a given for no one that they will be there.
Well, you look at the top 3, they're from the West region. If you're going to go 3 from the West, 3 from the East, and then there's 2 at-larges, that puts them at a potential to grab an at-large bid.
Cal Poly coming on strong as well, number 5.
Caroline Schafer, really aggressive on that swing, missing it long. You know, all 4 of these players playing without visors or hats, and the sun just beating down on them. Fatigue could be a factor.
I wondered about that. When you're coaching at the junior level, do you advise or encourage any of them in terms of?
Absolutely, not just for skin protection. Obviously, beach volleyball occupational hazard is skin cancer, but protecting your eyes and your face with a hat or visor, we encourage it strongly.
You played with a visor later in your career, right?
I made myself, after 2 years, figure out a way to play with the visor, but now I can't even go outside without one.
Yeah, and when you're saying made yourself, it matters because of peripheral vision. I mean, you get used to being able to see up high.
A lot of junior players come to practice. They start with a visor and rip it off because they say they can't see the ball, but I look at that cut shot. McKenna Martin, beautiful from the right shot side, and up 18-17 after winning the first set. This is big for Arizona.
Of course, Cal won at the 5 spot, so for Arizona to go into the top flight, even 1-1 would be significant if Nady and Martin can pull this off. Merino and Schafer, though, are so tough.
They're so tough, but showing some vulnerability in this particular matchup.
Ball wide.
Idea was there. Mia Marina saw the opening, just dropped her elbow and turned that ball too wide.
Of course, Nady and Martin aren't going to feel comfortable at all after seeing what Merino and Schafer are able to put together. A service error by Nady brings it back within 1.
Caroline Schafer missed her last serve. So will she ease up?
Little.
That is the shot that I've been talking about, that short line over. You have to take it away. And both of them just looked at each other. Look at this. They turn around and look at each other. Mia was there in time, but that's a ball that you have to take away.
How do you want them to take it away? The blocker turn around and get it?
Either one of them, but
yeah.
make a commitment to do it.
And discuss it ahead of time.
Yeah,
it is now match
me,
point.
I got that ball. I'm taking care of it. It's not happening anymore.
Match point for Nady and Martin. Nady swinging for the match. Merino. Oh, McKenna Martin. On 2, not high enough. Little works, and Nady and Martin even the duel back up.
How about that? The new pair of McKenna Martin and Casey Nady playing at a very high level beat the very strong team of Caroline Schafer, Mia Marino from Cal.
All tied up at 1 apiece. Time for the 1, 2, and 3 pairs to warm up.
State Farm.
Beautiful day in Tucson, Arizona. Second day of our Wildcat Spring Challenge. The final duel is all locked up. Top 15 matchup between Cal and Arizona. We're at Bear Down Beach. Hey everybody, Anne-Marie Anderson alongside 3-time beach volleyball Olympian Holly McPeak. And Holly, This is what we expected, a really tight match, tied up one apiece. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, we've seen Cal as a red-hot team, but finally Arizona able to steal a win. They played extremely well with a new pair, so some fun matchups and some vulnerability by Cal. Interesting.
Yeah, let's take a look at the highlights. Really, for the 5 pairs for Cal, Micheletti and Campbell have been so strong, really impressive.
17, actually 18-2 on the season now. Maddie Micheletti, just a freshman, sees the game well, and Grace Campbell balances her out with her size at the net and experience as a junior. Good hand control. We saw some power from Grace Campbell as well, especially when it came to ending the match. Kill down the middle for Cal.
Yep, and Cordes and Watanabe of Arizona, another new pairing as Steve Walker was mixing his 4s and 5s, so nobody had seen these 4s and 5s before for Arizona, but you mentioned it, the 4 pair, McKenna Martin and Casey Nady really played strongly. It took down Cal's 4s and 2.
Well, Casey Nady and McKenna Martin together, just the chemistry. I love it. They're gamers. Casey Nady dominated at the net, and Cal made a few too many errors. They had opportunities, and Arizona really took control. This is a new team. It could have backfired on Steve Walker, but I think it was a really smart gamble on the program for Arizona to put this team together at 4s.
Yep, and they have played it out. I mean, this is the final point of the match, and you watch the stamina of these players. McKenna Martin with great defense.
And then there's nothing Cal can do in transition. McKenna Martin's established her line, but goes cut to finish the match for Arizona.
It says a lot about Arizona's depth. I mean, you look at Casey Nady, for example, who was at the 2s, moved down a bit through the week, and his fans are enjoying Bear Down Beach. Merino and Schafer fought as hard as they could, fought off 5 set points in set number 1, but came back up a little bit short against Nady and Martin. Meanwhile, Campbell and Micheletti, absolutely dominating performance versus Cordes and Watanabe.
Definitely, and we go into the second flight tied up 1-1, so I think it makes for a very exciting finish.
Well, tell us about what you expect in the next flight of the 1, 2, and 3 pairs.
Well, 1, 2, and 3 are the strongest pairs for each program, so I expect a battle. I feel like strategically, teams are going to play each other really tight, so it's how you finish the match and how willing you are to change strategies if something's not working. Like we said, on the 4 pairs, that short line shot was dropping, and Cal did not make an adjustment to dig that ball.
Plenty of action on Pac-12 Network. There's been 8 duels. We also got a chance to see a very strong Stetson team and a very strong Colorado Mesa Division II team, but Arizona State played yesterday. What's ahead, do you think, for the Sand Devils?
Well, Arizona State, kind of a rebuilding. They lost their top program as a top pair as well, losing to Cal yesterday and losing 4-1 to Arizona. Arizona State looking for a way to compete with the top ranked teams. They've got a lot of talent, just trying to find a way to match up better.
A lot on the line here. Both of these programs have been perfect in this tournament. Somebody's going home with a win. The 1, 2, and 3 pairs coming up next.
Label me.
State Farm.
Welcome back to Bear Down Beach. Pac-12 Beach Volleyball is brought to you by State Farm. Here to help life go right. Gorgeous day in Tucson. We're halfway through a duel as Cal and Arizona are locked up at 1 apiece. Fans sitting out in the sun enjoying the beautiful day. The 4 and 5 pairs have already squared off. Bring your dog to Bear Down Beach Day, and earlier today Arizona defeated Colorado Mesa, and then Cal did the same to the Mavericks.
And now the 2 teams that have been undefeated in this spring challenge face off against each other.
Yeah, and Holly, a lot at stake really as we talk about the field in terms of putting another top 15 win on your resume this year.
Yeah, both teams. This is important for both teams, and I think Arizona needs to feel very happy that they got a win at that 4 spot, beating Merino and Schafer. This is a good start heading into the second flight.
So when we look at this flight, the 1s, 2s, and 3s, Of particular interest really is the ones, of course, Alexia Inman and Mima Mirkovic versus Natalie Anselmo and Olivia MacDonald. What should we be looking for in that matchup on center court?
Well, I think Arizona's going to go after Alexia Inman. She's a freshman. She's less experienced than Mima Mirkovic, who has represented the U.S. internationally. But at 6'1", she's got the range and the capability to put the ball away. And then, if you're Cal, you're going to test Natalie Anselmo. At 5'6", they're very familiar with one another's game. Anselmo and Inman have played club volleyball against each other, beach club, and it's going to be an interesting matchup.
You and I talked with Natalie Anselmo's parents earlier today. They said she probably first touched a ball at about 3 or 4. Both parents played. Her father, John, played professionally in the AVP for a bit, and said they used to do family tournaments. By the time she was 7, they realized just how competitive she was.
Yeah, she needed to know the score, what happened, why they weren't winning,
and she was the little sister.
Yeah, exactly. The little sister always fights harder.
I think so. Are you the little sister?
Well, 10 by 10 minutes.
Well, what about your sister Katie?
She's a little bit more laid back when it comes to competing, but my twin brother, woo, it's war. What a hammer by Mima Mirkovic. Wow. She can bring the heat.
Mirkovic, a freshman, plays on the indoor team as well. We're not seeing as much crossover in these programs, but Mirkovic just too talented to not play both. She is, like her international partner Catherine Plummer of Stanford, an impact player on both squads.
Definitely, and Jessica Gaffney's the other indoor player that plays beach, so there's only 2. That ball was hit really deep, and Alexia Inman needs to track that down, turn her feet, and chase that ball.
Got away from Inman there.
Alexia Inman trying to stay aggressive, not getting her feet all the way to that ball, and that's why Arizona will continue to challenge her.
Inman asking for it across, but no go. It was wide.
Alexia Inman, she's the blocker, the bigger player in high school. A lot of players went away from her and served her partner. This is a new role, getting every serve. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we've talked about it the other way, too, for Mima Mirkovic playing with Catherine Plummer. She always received every serve, but you've been impressed with her setting.
Yeah, Mima Mirkovic puts up a really nice apex set. Alexia Inman just needs to make higher contact, go up and get that ball high, especially with a big blocker like Olivia MacDonald. You don't want her to touch those balls at the net.
Deep line.
Alexia Inman frustrated. That ball hit long. And Arizona with a good side switch. Derek Olson trying to get Alexia Inman focus. Alexia Inman now going to the left side. She was on the right side, but giving her some different offensive looks.
Different programs that we have covered over the years, a lot of different things. For Hawaii, they call that O-positive, wanting to be able to play both sides, be able to do everything. Do you find that the younger players try to lock into one side?
How about the arm on Olivia MacDonald? Just hammers that from off the net. In terms of locking into one side or the other, you have to be able to play left or right. In transition, you dig on the right side, you dig on the left side, so you can't lock in, but you can have a preference.
Let's pop over to court number 2 and see what the action looks like over here, because Jessica Gaffney and Lindahl are facing Devlin and Purdue of Arizona.
Arizona leading on this court as well. Good start for Arizona.
It's been a 4-0 run for the Wildcats on this court. Second swing is long.
Arizona going after Jessica Gaffney. Most teams serve Lindahl, switching up the strategy. I like it.
On court number 3, Baham and Burling versus Bark and Dueck, a slight lead for the Wildcats.
All 3 courts, Arizona is leading Cal. That's a surprise.
Still very early, of course, in set number 1. Little. Gaffney puts it down.
It just means that Arizona came out on fire on a mission, and Cal's going to have to respond.
Lindahl, 5'8" sophomore for the Bears, serves short cross. Hammered down. Nice dig by Gaffney. Making that adjustment from the indoor game.
Wonderful drop off the net, overhand dig, and then Lindahl from way off the net sets her partner Gaffney tight to the net, who clears the big Devlin block. Beautiful cow point.
Block, door is closed by Jessica Gaffney.
Stephanie Purdue trying to go down the line, and Jessica Gaffney's long. Good block at 6'1" from the Cal senior.
The deep poke could not have been any better.
Stephanie Purdue finds the line. Good pace on that poke. You can poke it up in the air and it can hang a long time, but that one nice and flat to the spot.
A serve coming the other way. When you teach the poke, Holly, what do you talk to them about?
Well, keeping your elbow high, making the highest point of contact, and obviously not getting too much air under that ball. You see the tough serve by Arizona. Jessica Gaffney a little bit late getting her platform out to pass for Cal.
Side switch, Purdue and Devlin +2. Steve Walker on this court talking with this team. It's a bit of an art to decide which coach will be on which court, depending on personalities. Gaffney into the gap.
Arizona likes to drop into the angle, and Cal knows that. Watch Jessica Gaffney. She gets wide on her approach, sees the angle block, and just snaps on top of that ball. Beautiful set again by Lindahl.
Blocker staying. No doubt about that from Stephanie Purdue.
Stephanie Purdue's got a beautiful armed graduate student, really dynamic defender, but I think Cal's just locking into serving a certain player, not serving them tough, not making them move, just to a certain player. And I like a stronger game plan, like what kind of serve is going to get them in some trouble. That time Devlin dropped off the net and could not make another step to adjust to the offense from Gaffney.
Purdue and Devlin, a really interesting pair that Walker spent some time talking with us about, because you mentioned the injuries earlier. There's been lots of changes. You know, Devlin started as a walk-on. She's now on scholarship. Purdue began as a blocker on another pair. She's now defending. I mean, talking about being O-positive and doing a little bit of everything.
And I really like their chemistry. I like the way they communicate. I like the way they move together. Devlin and Purdue have something special for Arizona. Purdue has good hand contact, fastball down the line. Too much for Cal to handle.
Staying, taking away the line, and Devlin in the spot, perfect spot, but over digs, and Gaffney handles it.
And Gaffney ready for that. That's a heads-up play by Jessica Gaffney for Cal. And Lindahl putting that ball up at the net. What a set. Bettering the ball, that's so important as a partner. You always want to make the play better. Better the ball.
She had line, ended up just turning into the block.
Well, you saw Jessica Gaffney make that very late move into the angle, and as a blocker, you need to be really disciplined, making sure you press over, and Jessica Gaffney did just that for Cal.
Tied up at 10 apiece on court number 2. This duel tied up 1-1. No one on.
Lindahl with the kill. Good switch for Cal.
Plenty of action happening at Bear Down Beach. Gaffney and Lindahl leading on court 2.
Jay Johnson, head baseball of Arizona.
It's time now for our State Farm Get to a Better State. I got to tell you, it's not hard work watching beach volleyball.
It certainly is a beautiful day, lots of shade, some dancing going on. Fans are happy to be here.
Fans are having a great time. It's a bring your dog to the beach day here as Bear Down Beach is kind of dog park beach. Everybody having their puppies around. It's tied up 1-1 in this dual top 15 matchup. Both teams have been perfect, both programs in this tournament, so somebody is going to leave here perfect and somebody's going home with a loss. We're looking to continue our coverage with the two pairs right now because it's tight. Gaffney and Lindahl going up by 2 versus Purdue and Devlin, now 1.
This particular Cal team of Jessica Gaffney and Ia Lindahl love strategy and love coming up with ways to scheme against the other team. So let's see if they make any key adjustments to help them score points. But Arizona's keeping the ball on Jessica Gaffney. Every serve going to her. Ia Lindahl not getting many opportunities to hit the ball.
What a beautiful cut and an even better dig.
Ia Lindahl's doing a good job putting on her running shoes, chasing down passes wherever they are, and putting up a nice set for Jessica Gaffney, who slices that ball in the cut.
I mean, you talk about the wrist, the handwork all the time. Best example we've seen.
Definitely. You need to have good hand control. That time, Stephanie Purdue made a great adjustment, saw the late angle block, and went high over the angle.
Gaffney last year was a 2-pair for Cal with Camille Stepanoff. Cut the other way.
Haley Devlin a little late on her push, and Ia Lindahl able to squeeze that through the block. Ia and Jessica Gaffney talking after that play, trying to get on the same page in terms of strategy and figuring out a way to score a point off Purdue and Devlin.
Yeah, Lindahl, just a sophomore, was paired with Dueck last year at the 4 spot. How about that block? A use, and it's wide.
Stephanie Purdue is not afraid to swing. Very mature athlete, makes some good adjustments in game, and new to the sport. She's a grad student.
I love that part of the sport, which was an emerging sport, now an NCAA championship sport. You can extend your career. We've seen a number of players, they change schools and go play. We've seen people like Zoe Nightingale have 3 senior days.
Yeah.
Had senior day at UCLA Indoors, senior day at UCLA Beach, and then senior day at USC Beach.
Yeah, it's crazy. More opportunities, and a lot of 4-year indoor players come and finish their last year on the beach.
You didn't have that opportunity when you were playing, but I imagine you would have done something special with it.
Gosh,
you would have loved
things
it.
are just so different. It's hard to do both as an athlete, especially a setter, because the indoor coaches want you to get reps with your hitters. But I love both sports, both the indoor volleyball and beach. Here, the tool, again, Purdue using the block. Arizona looking very strong, tying it up.
Pulling off, great dig. Devlin turning it again.
How about Haley Devlin, 51 in blue. Her elbow's all taped up, but she's doing a good job finding the open court.
Yeah, and pulling off and digging. Meanwhile, on the right side of your screen, Anselmo and MacDonald, who haven't had the strongest tournament, they've had some up and down moments, absolutely dominating Inman and Mirkovic.
And Inman really struggled at the beginning of the first set, siding out, and that's probably been the difference. We haven't been able to watch that one.
Well, let's do it now as Anselmo up, cutting, wide.
Cut shot just wide, and Mima Mirkovic read that the whole way for Cal. Long way to go to crawl back in this set for Cal.
And part of it, as you point out, it's crawling back into the set, and part of it's figuring out what the problem is before you get to set 2.
That too.
A serve for Inman.
I feel like as a team, as a pair, you want to get the momentum going. Even if you can't come back and win this particular set, you want to get things going in the right direction. This is a tough serve, just bouncing off MacDonald.
Going after Anselmo. Little. Big dig. Mima Mirkovic has seen it before. Anselmo dig anything up. An absolute hoover. Trick Lucky, so nasty.
It started with a fantastic dig by Mirkovic, digging that short ball that I thought was going to drop, and then ending with Anselmo putting her sprint shoes on, keeping that ball alive for MacDonald, her partner.
MacDonald serves Mima Mirkovic, and this is for the set. Power.
Wow. The big arm of Mirkovic hammers that through the block, and now they trail 12-20.
Yep, it will remain a set point. Anselmo and MacDonald 1 point away from taking set number 1. And with the service error, that does it as Anselmo and MacDonald take the first set from the top pair of Cal, Inman and Mirkovic.
If you're Inman and Mirkovic, you need to throw that away and start fresh. Just throw it away, figure out a way to get your team playing better volleyball.
Coming back over to court number 2, a totally different story, as Jessica Gaffney has had 11 kills, 2 blocks. She's serving here, locked up at 18.
Great dig by Gaffney, and I like the idea by Lindahl. But now Arizona up by 1, 19-18.
Looking at the action on court number 3 as well. Baham and Burling at set point over Bark and Dueck. Gaffney on the left side of the screen. Ball is down, and Arizona wins on court 3 and is at set point on court number 2.
Arizona just came out on fire, on a mission, and Cal's been just rolling through this tournament. So I think Cal's a little bit, knocked back on their heels, and they're going to need to respond. And this is where you learn how to respond to these kind of situations when everything's not going well. I really like the play of Stephanie Purdue. She is a gamer. She's fast twitch, unafraid, moves the ball around the court, not afraid to get up and hammer the ball, and she and Devlin complement each other really well.
Now, this Arizona program has grown exponentially over the years. The first season in 2014, 2012 was the first year of beach volleyball nationally. Only 5 duels. There weren't very many programs. In 2016, the inaugural NCAA championship in Gulf Shores, Alabama, Arizona, a large part of the field.
Large part. They were very impressive in the Pac-12 tournament, earning second that year, and led by the Witt twins. And then they finished 5th overall at the NCAA tournament in 2016.
Steve Walker, head coach, just finished talking with Devlin and Purdue, immediately comes out of the timeout and is watching the 1 pairs for a moment. Thus the life of a coach, back and forth. Purdue and Devlin looking to finish it out here, and you see Walker looking back over at court number 1. Pleased, I'm sure, with Anselmo and MacDonald for picking up that first set victory. Wants to know if Purdue and Devlin can do it here. Gaffney unloads.
Big time side out, but can they respond and score a real point? And what I mean by real point is serve and play D and dig for a point to transition.
What a beautiful shot by Stephanie Purdue. Purdue and Devlin win set number 1. Purdue had 8 kills, including the final one, tied up at 1-1 apiece.
Sunday.
This duel at Bear Down Beach tied up at 1-1, a top 15 matchup. It really can't get much closer because we are in the top flight, the 1, 2, and 3 pairs. If you take a look in this duel, the 5 pair for Cal won straight sets, the 4 pair for Arizona won straight sets, and Arizona's 1, 2, and 3 pairs each won the first set. Whoever wins 2 of these 3 matches in progress wins the duel and puts a top 15 matchup win on their resume. Let's go over to court 3, where Bryce Bark and Maddie Dueck are with Johnny Baham and Brooke Burling.
First set to Arizona, Johnny Baham and Brooke Burling. 21-13, convincing win in the first set.
Here's Johnny. To the corner, chasing it down.
Brooke Burling, the full-time blocker on this team with Johnny Baham. Undersized, but moves around the court, very comfortable dropping off the net to play defense.
Burling at a swing, blocker pulling cross.
Wonderful set by Johnny Baham, the freshman. And Brooke Burling goes cross court for the kill. Starts with a good pass, nice set. Beautiful court vision. Bryce Bark, very good at dropping off the net to play defense. Can't come up with that one.
How do you decide? When do you decide whether you're going to pull back straight or cross, line or cross?
Well, usually it depends on the play that you call, what part of the court you're blocking, but sometimes it's situational. If someone's in the middle of the court, you don't want to have to go all the way back to the line. You want to drop into the shorter angle, so you have to go a shorter distance into the court.
Defender's responsibility to adjust.
Correct. And usually you can make a verbal cue or a hand cue, slap one side of your hip, allowing the defender to know where you're going.
Right down the middle for the kill.
Bryce Bark, beautiful kill, deep middle. She and Maddie Dueck lead 5-3. Bryce Bark has been a part of the Cal Beach volleyball program the last 4 years, this being her 4th year, and really seen the growth. She's the captain and provides so much leadership for these young players.
On 2, looking to the back corner. Bark saw an opportunity.
And changed directions to dig that ball and finishes with a transition kill. That's really important. If you're a defender dropping off the net, be ready to change directions.
Did she get a hand?
Yeah, well, Brooke Burling saying no, Maddie Dueck saying yes.
Do you blame her for saying no?
No, of course not. Let's see if it cleared the tape. Maddie Dueck going back in transition. Couldn't really tell. Was a little bit low on contact. Bryce Bark very good at that corner on 2, but misses it wide.
Close set. Much closer than in that first set. The adjustments by Bark and Dueck. Here's Dueck, no one on.
No one up, and that ball's dropping really fast in this wind. The wind's picked up, and Maddie Dueck needs to get her arm up a little sooner, go attack that ball. Now all tied up in this second set after Arizona won the first.
Deep corner, so beautifully placed.
Bryce Bark uses her length to go up and poke that ball over the block, finds the deep court. Tight ball, Brooke Burling, the undersized blocker, tries to get it, but Bryce Bark a little bit longer at 6 feet at the net.
89 degrees here in Tucson. Cal playing back-to-back duels. They played Colorado Mesa immediately before this. Arizona had a little bit of a break. The wind is picking up. Poke. Sets up, no blocker on.
Bryce Bark bringing the heat in the middle of that rally, and then, wow, Johnny Baham hits the back line. She grew up on the beach from Carlsbad, California. Lots of experience playing every week and competing. She's really pushing this Cal team.
Megan Owusu talking with her pair, Bark and Dueck, 14 and 6 record this
16-4.
season. 16-4, excuse me. Seeing things backwards. Can't take away 2 wins.
Brooke Burling and Johnny Baham really took it to them the first set. This set is a little bit closer.
And if there's 5 courts going at once, there's flights this time around. Megan Owusu said this is a team that she leaves alone without a coach because they're steady Eddie. They're not too emotional at all. They know the results.
How about that hand? Great drop shot. Bryce Bark dropped off the net, but Johnny Baham perfectly executed roll shot. Look at all the spin. Love it.
Sets up, a little break back at you, but it's picked up. And now Cal's on the move. Baham. And Burling will take a swing. Long rally.
Arizona just playing some scrappy defense and keeping it going, extending the rally. Look at Brooke Burling extend to keep that ball alive and really wear Cal out in this long rally. Cal called the timeout.
Baham and Burling haven't had much experience together. 4-0 record as partners.
But both grew up playing this sport, and even though they're a little bit undersized, if you think 5'10", 5'6", they play the game well, move the ball around the court, and play really scrappy, relentless defense, and that's important.
They got a win over USC's 5s. And Steve Walker said people have had a hard time knowing who to serve in this pairing. He said they always start on Johnny, but then they realize that Burling's a good setter, and it kind of becomes a problem.
Yeah, and they're relentless. They keep the ball alive. They don't let the ball drop unnecessarily, and that's going to frustrate a lot of teams.
The extended rally is one of their signatures, according to head coach Steve Walker. They just hang in there with ball control and defense until they wear you down.
I love it. Good strategy.
It's a nice identity to have, for sure. Meanwhile, Bark and Dueck talking with head coach Megan Owusu.
A lot of ice towels going around. Cal players putting it on their neck, trying to cool themselves down in this heat. They're not used to it. They don't see this type of heat at Cal.
Yep, Bark, number 4 for Cal, is one of the team's captains, and Megan Owusu went out of her way to tell us she's really proud of her for sticking it out for the 4 years, because those early years were rough for Cal. They've improved greatly.
And she's played 1s, 2s, 3s, had a lot of pressure on her, but stayed strong. They've had some good players drop out of their program to focus on school and other things, but Bryce Bark has really stayed the course for Cal Beach Volleyball. What a block by Brooke Burling. First-year blocker for Arizona. Last year, a full-time defender.
And that's got to be one of the things for junior level players to pay attention to. You got to be able to do both if you've got that in-between height, because you want to just get your number called. It's hard to break into the top 10.
I agree. You want your number called. You want to be ready. You play right, you play left, you play defense, you block, you do whatever it takes to get in the lineup.
It's kind of a master of all trades, right?
How about that? Yes, exactly. Brooke Burling on 2. Cal's defense was set up, and Brooke Burling surprises them with a bump set over.
Can't use it too often, but you and I both recall in the first NCAA championship when Mia Mason and Calais Mao in an extended rally, I think they were at the 4s at that point. The bump set over, wicked. Just the crowd went wild.
Oh, we went wild.
We went wild.
It was a very important part of the match.
Ace serve right down the middle.
Cal really not responding to the pressure Arizona's putting on them. Look at this serve down the middle. You got to talk about this before they serve the ball. Somebody has to commit to it. And I feel like Arizona's playing without any pressure.
Chasing it down.
Good dig by Maddie Dueck, but Bryce Bark can't do anything to get it over. And Arizona continuing to roll up 14-7 at the threes.
Meanwhile, coming back to court number 1, it's an 18-10 lead for Anselmo and MacDonald over Cal's ones, Inman and Mirkovic.
Cal has not responded the way I expected them to, but look at Mima Mirkovic. She is taking 2/3 of the court. That serve hit the antenna. Mirkovic trying to do what she can to help take the pressure off Alexia Inman.
Yeah, just saying anywhere here, 70%.
Yeah.
I'll take. Inman serving. You know that it's going to go to Anselmo. Most of them do. And that is just fine with her. Defender pulling off. Cracked by Anselmo. Ripped the other way. Mirkovic has it up. Inman unable to keep it alive.
I'll tell you, Natalie Anselmo, playing at ones for Arizona, has done such a great job. She really changed her game around from last year. I felt like she wasn't playing the game that I saw her play while she was a junior and while she was a high school player. She was so aggressive, relentless, and I felt like last year wasn't her strongest year, but she's made the adjustment and is playing the level of volleyball that she can.
And went from the 5s to the 1s.
5s to the 1s, that's what I'm talking about. Last year she didn't look like the same player I knew from high school, but this year she does. And maybe it's that confidence, that adjustment to the next level.
Sitting at match point right now, Anselmo and MacDonald looking to put another point on the board for Arizona. Mima Mirkovic serving. Anselmo can reasonably expect to receive the serve. Passing is steady. Mirkovic hitting error, and Anselmo and MacDonald a sweep over Inman and Mirkovic of Cal.
Big win for Anselmo and MacDonald, and Alexia Inman and Mima Mirkovic couldn't right the ship.
Arizona picks up another point. It's a 2-1 lead. One more win for Arizona, and they win the duel.
Sunday at 7 on Pac-12 Network.
2-1 lead for Arizona over Cal in this top 15 matchup on Pac-12 Network. 2 matches still continuing on, the 2s and the 3s. Arizona won the first set in both of these matches, but if you look on the left side of your screen, Lindahl and Gaffney, Holly, had responded.
Up 16-12 in the second set, and now 17-12 at pair 2s.
Meanwhile, we'll zoom in on court number 3. Bryce Bark, Maddie Dueck fighting Baham and Burling of Arizona. 6-point lead for the Wildcats. A win on this court by Baham and Burling in this set would clinch the duel.
Baham and Burling for Arizona have been playing just free and aggressive and relentless, and I feel like the pressure, they don't feel the pressure on them.
Past the blocker and fooled the defender.
Super steady. Johnny Baham, Brooke Burling keeping the ball in play, not making too many errors, not hitting the ball straight down, but managing their offense, finding the open sand.
Pretty impressive job by Steve Walker, as he has changed his pairs in every duel of this tournament. 4 different duels, 4 different lineups. And he had some great results today from some of those changes.
He certainly did, especially in this last match.
Yeah, the 4s and 5s played well. The 5s got the loss, but 4s got the win.
There, Bryce Bark cleaning up things at the net. Cal needs to make a move, down 12-17 after losing the first set.
Set is up. Here comes Dueck. Patrolling the net, little cut. Dueck. Bark going to take a full swing. We said the Steady Eddies like to extend the rally.
Wow. How about the defensive reactions by Johnny Baham to save an errant dig? Look at her turn and just control that with one hand and continue to extend the rally. And then ending this rally, Bryce Bark hits it long down the line. Arizona winning that point.
6-point lead. Baham and Burling looking to win this set. If they do, Arizona wins the duel.
Bryce Bark gets that ball to drop, enough heat on it, but Cal still has a long way to dig themselves out.
It's a significant matchup for Arizona, who started the season 5-0, then struggled a bit on the road. They had 14 duels on the road, and now have so far been perfect in this tournament and are in the driver's seat. That one made the line jump.
Nady Dueck aggressive to that corner. Beautiful swing from number 15 from Cal. Out of the middle of the court, finding that deep corner. That's a tough spot to hit, and she hit it perfectly.
Dueck's serve goes to Burling. Deep.
Cal getting some momentum on their side of the net, trailing 15-18. Nady Dueck with a couple tough serves.
They're taking a timeout on court number 3. Baham and Burling in the driver's seat, +3 in the second set after winning the first set. More beach volleyball coming up on Pac-12 Network tomorrow. UCLA versus Stanford at noon Pacific time. You can see that on Pac-12 LA and Pac-12 Bay Area. All of this, of course, available on the Pac-12 Now app. And then St. Mary's versus Stanford, 3 p.m. More beach volleyball on Pac-12 Network. Pac-12 Network is committed to the sport.
They certainly are. UCLA is the hottest team in the country. They've got depth. They're playing great volleyball. That's going to be a fun test for Stanford.
Stein Metzger, last year's AVCA Beach Volleyball Coach of the Year, leading this program that he has been building brick by brick. Jeff Alzina, an assistant over there now, alongside Jenny Johnson-Jordan. They're doing great things.
I love it. Casey Nady's the coach on this court. Johnny Baham, and Brooke Burling talking about it. Casey Nady getting them fired up, keeping it light. Casey Nady, a fifth-year student, encouraging her teammates after getting the win at twos. Or what pair?
Casey Nady had moved down to fours.
Fours, correct.
Yep.
Sorry. Started at twos.
Yep, and was with McKenna Martin. Can't blame him for not keeping track of it. He has moved the pairs around.
Yeah.
It really shows the depth. It also shows Steve Walker's fearlessness at trying things. You better be on your toes if you play for the Wildcats, because if you're good, he's going to give you an opportunity.
Definitely. And you want everybody invested, working hard in practice so they can get that opportunity.
Bam. Bam, the other way.
Wow. Cal just chipping away, 16-18 now.
Baham and Burling holding on to a 2-point lead. Off the block. Door closed by Bryce Bark, and it's all the way back to 1 point. 5-0 run.
And they'll switch.
Dueck.
Yeah, Cal really making a charge at the end of the second set. Bryce Bark taking care of that tight ball.
How about that 5-0 run? I mean, to be down 18-12 and come back.
Yeah, I love it. Good response from Cal.
If Baham and Burling are able to win this set, they win the match. They win the match. Arizona wins the duel. But Bark and Dueck not leaving it up to anybody else to decide. Looking for the deep corner. How about that?
Bryce Bark with a big time dig, and then the overset, just unfortunate at this time. Brooke Burling takes advantage of it at the net for Arizona.
Composure to put it that last 6 inches of the court.
What? The dribbler. The dribbler for set point. Just everything going Arizona's way.
Bark and Dueck and 5 consecutive points, and now it is dual point.
Not yet.
Yep, and it's match point, but also dual point. There's a lot of pressure on these Cal players right now.
Cal players and the freshman, Johnny Baham and Brooke Burling, the sophomore from Naperville, Illinois.
Pulling off. And that'll do it. What a beautiful shot. Arizona's 3-pair wins the match, and Arizona wins the duel 3-1.
Excellent execution. Arizona came out on fire this match, prepared to play, and I felt like Cal just wasn't ready for it.
Arizona came into this tournament having had a bit of a rough go on the road. They have won 4 consecutive duels over this weekend and picked up a couple of ranked wins as well over Stetson and Cal.
And 15 knocking off number 14, 3-1 at this point. Pretty impressive win for Arizona.
Steve Walker, head coach of Arizona, celebrated his birthday yesterday. 4 more wins, 2 top 25 wins. For Holly McPeak, I'm Anne Marie Anderson. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our fantastic Pac-12 crew.